Finding a crested gecko clutch is exciting, but what you do in the first few minutes can make a big difference. From the moment the eggs are laid, they need careful handling, stable conditions, and plenty of patience. Today, I'm taking you through my complete incubation process, from collecting the eggs to preparing for hatch day. I'll show you my setup, explain how I monitor the eggs, and share the details that help create a safe, consistent environment for developing hatchlings. So, what should you do when you find a clutch? Let's begin there. Step 1. Finding the eggs. I check my female's enclosure regularly for eggs. Crested geckos commonly lay 2 eggs at a time, so when I find a clutch, I carefully remove it from the enclosure. I handle the eggs as little as possible. Most importantly, I never rotate them after they've been laid. Keeping them in the same position helps protect the developing embryos. It's a simple first step, but it matters. Once the eggs are safely collected, I prepare the container they'll spend the next several weeks in. Step 2. Preparing the incubation container. For incubation, I use a small container with a suitable incubation medium. The goal is balance. The medium needs to provide enough moisture to keep the eggs from drying out, but it shouldn't be saturated or dripping wet. I also provide ventilation to reduce stagnant air and overly humid conditions. Too little moisture can cause problems, while too much can create an environment where mold and other issues develop. Once the moisture and ventilation are where I want them, the container is ready for the eggs. Step 3. Placing the eggs. Now I gently place the eggs into the incubation medium. I make sure they're supported and stable, but I don't completely bury them. They should remain easy to monitor without being disturbed. Then I secure the lid and check that the container is properly closed. The eggs are now set up, but the work doesn't stop there. The environment needs to stay consistent, and that brings us to one of the most important parts of incubation: temperature. Step 4. Temperature. Temperature plays a major role in how quickly crested gecko eggs develop. I keep the eggs at a stable room temperature and monitor conditions regularly. Sudden changes and extreme temperatures can create unnecessary stress, so consistency is the priority. Incubation time can vary, but maintaining a steady environment gives the eggs the best chance to develop naturally. Of course, temperature is only part of the process. To know how things are progressing, I also check the eggs carefully, but without opening the container every few hours. Step 5. Checking the eggs. I don't constantly open the container. Every time it's opened, the conditions inside can change. Instead, I check the eggs periodically and look for obvious changes in their appearance or in the incubation medium. The eggs should generally remain firm and intact as they develop. If I notice mold, collapsing, leaking, or another unusual change, I take a closer look at the conditions and monitor that egg carefully. The goal is observation, not overhandling. Once the eggs are stable, there's only one thing left to do, and it's often the hardest part. Step 6. Waiting for hatch day. Wait. Crested gecko eggs can take weeks or even longer to hatch, depending on temperature and individual development. That means the timeline isn't always predictable. I try not to rush the process. The eggs develop at their own pace, and patience is one of the most important tools an incubator can have. As hatch day approaches, I watch for changes in the eggs and stay prepared. When a baby finally begins to emerge, the best thing to do is usually give it time. When they start hatching. When hatch day arrives, I try not to interfere. If a baby is coming out of the egg, I allow it to emerge on its own unless there's a genuine problem that requires intervention. Hatching can take time, and rushing the process may do more harm than good. Once the baby is fully out, I move it into a prepared enclosure with the essentials it needs. After all the careful setup and waiting, this is the moment it's all been leading to: seeing a healthy baby crested gecko begin its life. And that's how I incubate my crested gecko eggs, from finding the clutch and setting up the container to monitoring development and preparing for hatch day. For me, the most important factors are stable temperatures, appropriate moisture, good ventilation, gentle handling, and plenty of patience. Are you incubating crested gecko eggs too? Let me know in the comments how you do it and how many hatchlings you're hoping to welcome. If you found this video helpful, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow along for more Crested Gecko and animal care videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.